The story begins in a small town in America, where we see people having a picnic by the riverside. But suddenly, a boat floated towards them without anyone steering it. However, what they found inside the boat shocked them. Inside the boat was a badly decomposed dead body. The body was in a very bad state. Soon the town's police chief, John Hawkins, arrived. Forensic Officer Connie had already reached the scene before Hawkins. She told Hawkins that the dead body was in terrible condition and had no bones left, only flesh. This was a very strange case. It looked like someone had removed the bones, which seemed impossible to do normally. The body was sent for a post-mortem. A doctor named Jacob examined the body. After a thorough investigation, Jacob told Hawkins that it indeed looked like someone had meticulously removed all the bones. But the question was, how did they do it? Jacob also found a bee-like insect inside the body. Jacob had sealed this insect in a jar. Hawkins gave the jar to Connie to keep it safe. It might serve as evidence to find the cause of death. Soon, Connie found out the man's name. His name was Dr. Cole Parsons. He was a scientist who had come to live there about a year ago. They found his wallet and some belongings on the boat. He used to be a professor at a university, but then he gave up everything and went to live alone by the river, deep in the jungle. Hawkins would have to go to the man's house to investigate the case properly. Next, we see a girl named Meg, who is Hawkins' ex-girlfriend. Meg used to work as a jungle guide for the police. Hawkins met Meg and gave her all the information about the case. Meg knew the scientist. About a year ago, Meg had even helped the scientist bring in some of his belongings. She knew that the scientist was working on some experiment, but she didn't know much about it. Hawkins asked Meg to come with him to properly investigate the case, and Meg immediately agreed. Hawkins also asked Jacob to come along. Before leaving for the investigation, Hawkins gathered some information and then received another disturbing piece of news. The scientist had a young daughter who had disappeared about a year ago and was never found. The very next day, Hawkins, Meg, and Jacob packed their belongings and headed towards the dense forest. They would have to cover part of the journey by boat to reach the scientist's cabin. While they were on the way, Connie called suddenly. Connie informed them that the insect found in the man's body had died yesterday, but had come back to life today. Connie asked if she should send the insect to the lab for testing, but Hawkins told her to wait for him to return. Connie also mentioned that when the scientist's daughter disappeared, his wife had a mental breakdown and was kept in the hospital for 3 months. She kept blaming her husband for her daughter's disappearance. As night fell, Hawkins, Meg, and Jacob reached their destination. What was once a beautiful house by the river was now a frightening, desolate cabin. No one came or went, and there was no upkeep. Meg was very sad to see this because when she came there a year ago, the place was beautiful. Hawkins asked Meg and Jacob to wait outside and went inside first to check if there was any danger. He even called out to see if anyone was inside. But the place was completely ransacked. All the belongings and furniture were scattered, and it was clear that no one had been living there for a long time. When Hawkins started searching the place, he found some strange things, like an oddly moving ceiling that looked as if it were alive. Soon, Hawkins found a room whose door was very securely locked. He didn't open the door yet and went out to call Meg and Jacob. It was very late, so they thought it wouldn't be safe to go back into the jungle. They decided to stay there for the night, but the atmosphere of the place was very strange and scary. Weird and frightening sounds echoed inside the house, even when they were moving around. Hawkins said there was no need to be scared. The noises were probably from a rat or a raccoon. But the tension actually increased. Suddenly, the cabin's lights began to flicker, making the place even stranger and scarier. Soon they saw a basement door. They thought that since they wouldn't be able to sleep anyway, they might as well do some investigating. Down in the basement, they found a large electricity-generating machine. This strange machine looked like a large industrial charger. They didn't fully understand what the machine's purpose was, but it looked very powerful and dangerous. The research Hawkins had done before coming here also mentioned such a machine. While searching the kitchen of the house, they found some wires running upwards from the kitchen cupboard. The three of them guessed that whatever machine was in the house must be in the room upstairs. Anyway, the room that Hawkins had found locked earlier opened by itself. Hawkins called his friends, and all three went inside. The walls were covered with strange photos and mysterious symbols related to witchcraft and occult practices. But there were also some things related to science. It looked like a mixture of science and black magic. Some of the photos there were very disturbing. They were in the middle of their investigation when suddenly a spider bit Jacob on the mouth. Frightened and panicking, Jacob ran out of the room. Hawkins called Connie and asked her to find out who had built this strange house. But the signal on his phone was lost due to electromagnetic radiation coming from the ceiling. Meanwhile, there was some tension between Jacob and Hawkins regarding Meg. In fact, before Hawkins, Meg was Jacob's girlfriend, and he still loved her somewhere. This made the atmosphere a little awkward between the three of them. As they were preparing to sleep, Hawkins suggested that all three of them should stay in the same room so that they could face any danger together. But Meg said, "Look, I want my own room. I can't adjust with you guys." That night, Jacob became very ill. Perhaps due to the spider bite, no one could sleep properly. Meg came to Hawkins' room because she felt that there was a very evil force in this place. Although she had spent many nights alone in the jungle until now, the feeling of this place was different. A very evil, demonic power was present there. In the midst of their conversation, the two grew closer, and an intimacy started to develop between them. Just then, we see a ladder descend from the ceiling on its own. Jacob's condition was getting worse. It seemed as if he was completely out of control. Suddenly, there was a noise from outside. Meg and Hawkins quickly put on their clothes. They picked up their weapons and went out, where a woman was standing, aiming a gun at them. This woman was none other than Linda, Dr. Cole Parsons' wife, who had come there looking for her missing husband. Hawkins explained to her that he was a police officer and that her husband's dead body had been found by the river. Linda understood that these people would not harm her, so she lowered her gun. While they were talking, Meg went to the basement to find a way to restore the cabin's power. That's when we saw the scary shadow of a little girl following Meg. Meg found a doll there, which she kept with her. Just then, Hawkins noticed that Jacob was missing and went out to look for him. Outside, they heard some strange noises coming from the upstairs room. Hawkins, Meg, and Linda started heading towards the ceiling and saw that Jacob was trapped in the strange machine. They pulled Jacob out, but it seemed as if Jacob was no longer Jacob. He looked completely lost. During this incident, Linda heard the voice of her lost daughter, who was calling her mother from the upstairs room. After pulling Jacob out of the machine, Hawkins and the others questioned Jacob about how the machine started and what he was doing in the upstairs room. Jacob seemed scared and weak. He kept repeating, "I don't know how all this happened." Linda was standing in front of the machine, looking at it with a little fear. Meg came over and asked Linda if she had any idea what the machine was. Linda explained that it was an electromagnetic machine used to create a very powerful magnetic field. She warned that the machine was very dangerous and deadly for humans. Hawkins took Linda to the room where the strange photos were pasted on the walls. Linda became even more frightened seeing all this. She had lived with her husband for 10 years and knew very well that this was definitely not his work. She said with full confidence that this was absolutely not her husband's doing. Now she was afraid that perhaps some extremely terrifying entity had taken control of her husband. Just then, Hawkins found a laptop there that was password protected, so he couldn't open it. He asked Linda for help to unlock the password. Before they could do anything, they saw Cole standing outside the house through the window, alive and perfectly fine. They rushed outside in a panic and realized that this was not an illusion. Cole was really alive. In anger, Linda slapped Cole hard, But Cole didn't retaliate. He said, "Your anger is justified. You can hit me if you want." They all went inside and sat down comfortably. Hawkins asked Cole, "Where have you been all this time? And what happened here? Why is this house in this condition?" He also told Cole about the dead body found in the boat near the river. Cole was laughing off all these things. He did not give a direct answer to any question about the machine. At the police station, Connie was constantly trying to contact Hawkins. The fly found in the body was not only alive, but had turned into 2 flies. This could be due to Cole's machine. Meanwhile, we see that Jacob's condition was getting worse. Scary changes had started happening in his body. New nails started growing on top of his existing nails. Soon, new teeth and bones also started growing on top of other bones. He was changing very rapidly. All this might have happened because of the machine's radiation. Hawkins questioned Cole extensively, but Cole did not give any proper answer. Even when Linda asked him where he had gone, he didn't give a particularly good answer. And here, Jacob was obeying Cole's words as if he were his servant. When Linda went to check on Jacob, she was terrified to see his body so changed. She immediately went to tell Hawkins and Meg. Seeing such a horrible change in Jacob's body, they realized that they had to get out of there as soon as possible. When they went outside, they saw that the boat they had used to get there was now gone. Hawkins became even more suspicious of Cole, but Cole was still taking all these things as a joke. Hawkins lost his temper in anger. He gave Cole a hard punch and tied him up so that he couldn't cause any more trouble. Linda said that they should look around. There must be someone nearby who could help them get out of here. Hawkins and Meg left to search for people nearby. They soon reached a campsite where a lot of belongings were scattered. There was also a place to live and eat. But inside this camp, there were many decomposed dead bodies. Seeing this, the two immediately ran away. Meg started vomiting after seeing the gruesome sight. Hawkins tried to calm her down, but during this, Meg became emotional and said, "I'm pregnant. The baby in my womb is yours." At that moment, Linda was alone with Cole in the cabin. When Linda started putting the pieces of the truth together, she realized that Cole had hidden a lot of truth from everyone. She entered Tinkerbell as the password on Cole's laptop, and it opened immediately. Cole used to call her by that name before. After a little investigation, she found some terrifying videos on the laptop in which Cole experimented on many people. Every person who went through the machine came out with an evil power inside them, as if some evil force had possessed them. Linda also found out that Cole himself had gone through this machine, and the body found by the river was actually Cole's. The Cole who was currently in front of them was not her husband, but a vile monster created by the machine. In these videos, she also saw that Cole had sacrificed his own daughter in this hideous experiment. In the meantime, Cole locked Linda in the room so that she wouldn't interfere with his work. When Hawkins and Meg returned, they saw that Cole was gone. Hawkins asked Meg to wait outside so he could go inside and check for any danger. He picked up his gun and went in. Jacob's body suddenly split open from the inside, and a dangerous creature emerged from his remaining body, which immediately attacked Hawkins. Hawkins faced the demon with all his strength. Just then, Meg came inside and shot the demon, killing it. Seeing this horrific sight, Hawkins decided that they had to destroy the machine to put an end to this madness. He sent Meg outside for her safety and started preparing to burn the machine. For this, he used petrol and crude bombs. Soon, Linda came out of the room. Axe in hand, she wanted to finish off Cole no matter what. When she reached the basement, she saw her daughter entering the machine. Overcome with emotion, Linda also went inside the machine and became a victim of this dangerous force. Outside, people who had been victims of this machine started moving toward the cabin from various places in the jungle. Meg kept killing as many people as she could, but it was no use because these strange people started coming out of the jungle very quickly. Meanwhile, in the basement, Hawkins found petrol and started taking it to the upstairs room. Now Linda's body had also changed considerably, due to which Meg was forced to shoot her and finish her off. In the upstairs room, a hand-to-hand fight began between Hawkins and Cole. Cole bit off 2 of Hawkins' fingers with his mouth. Hawkins crushed Cole's head with an iron rod. As soon as he got the chance, Hawkins set the machine on fire. The fire started spreading very quickly. So, Hawkins shouted for Meg to get out. Meg went out, but Cole got up again and grabbed Hawkins so he couldn't escape. The entire house exploded with a big bang, and everything was destroyed. But Hawkins sacrificed his life to stop him. Now, Meg was left alone, and seeing herself attacked from all sides, she became numb. 8 months later, we see that Meg is completely safe at her home. Connie came to her to give her some of Hawkins' belongings. As soon as Connie left after giving her the items, she burned all of it. After this, we saw Meg's decomposed body lying under a tree, which reveals that the real Meg is dead. This one is a doppelganger created by the machine. And it is certain that the baby in her womb will also not be normal.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.